Okay, this is the second part of my mom and I conversation. Okay, so do you remember at what age you started liking boys?
Maybe nine. I mean, not nine. Yeah, about 10, because I did like the other boy. Well, one little French boy, he was too damn with boy. I forgot what his real name was. Oh, we call him boy. Uh, he always, he told my mother he wanted to marry me because I fried good pork chops.
And this is when you was at 10 years old, and this is the boy you first liked. So did you fry pork chops for him because you liked him?
No, I think I was cooking one day and I had a pork chop. But we lived downstairs in this building and he lived upstairs.
Oh, an apartment.
Yeah, him and Willie Frank was friends.
So this boy was older than you because Willie Frank is older, right? How much older Willie Frank was? And Willie Frank, your brother.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, do you remember what year Willie Frank was born?
How many years father was born? 40, 41?
41. So Willie Frank was just like a year older than you then, because you was born in 42. Okay. Do you remember at what age you was like romantically involved with someone? Not just liking him or giggling about a boy, but you was actually seeing him and dating him.
Oh, shit, I was much older.
Were you like a teenager or?
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Like that boy I told you named Troy. That's when I was.
But you was at 16 at that time.
Yeah.
Didn't you like somebody, or when you playing around with somebody when you was 12? Some guy used to come see you at the playground? At the school?
He came, yeah, that was 12, and I was 12, yeah. But we lived in this building, he lived in that building. And he used to come at what you call it?
Recess?
Yeah.
And how old was he again?
He was older than me.
If I remember correctly, your story, you said he was 19?
He might have been 18.
18? So you believe he was 18?
Yeah.
And,
He was older than me, you know.
And do you remember whether he was in school?
Oh, he wasn't in school.
Oh, he was out of school. So you were 12 and he was 18.
Yeah.
So
I don't even know how that started. Really.
you don't remember how you started talking to him?
Well, he started coming, because I think when we were, like I said, we were living one building to the next building, I think he started talking to me. And then when I would go to school, he used to come to school at recess time.
So did you not feel like, okay, he's 18, I'm 12, he's too old for me? Or you were just so excited that an older man or an older boy was interested in you?
Yeah, but that didn't last long because, like I said, I've seen him a couple of times, and then I think when they had a party one time, and me and Willie Frank was at the party. My mother wouldn't let me go unless Willie Frank went with me, and we went next door to the party. And Willie Frank, my mother told me to call us in the house, and I was still in there talking to him. And Willie Frank had to come back to get me. And when he went out, and that's when my mother cut the man, because when Willie Frank come back to get me, he came out, and him and June Birch was all of a sudden. He called Willie Frank something. And then he picked up a stick, and when I came out, he took the stick and threw it and hit me in the head. And I started crying, and that's when my mother come out with a knife. And
she was so upset that she just cut him, and by the time she got through, you said his shirt was bloody?
He had a white shirt, and that white shirt was red.
Oh.
And the lady, the boy I saw my boy here, his mother was in the window, and she kept hollering, "Is y'all gonna stand there and let her kill that man? Or y'all gonna stand there and let her kill?" Everybody was standing, you know.
So is this the boy mother that you were seeing?
You know, I wasn't really seeing him.
Oh, okay. So did y'all ever kiss, or he never tried anything with you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so y'all were just basically like talking and hanging out type of thing?
Yeah, no, we wasn't hanging out. We were just in the same place playing.
But he was a little older to be playing with you. You were 12 and he was 18.
Oh, I I'm not talking about that.
Oh, you're not talking about that. So who you talking? Oh, this is a different boy.
The one I told you about the pork chops and
Oh, the pork chop sandwich. So what happened to the guy that was the 18-year-old? What happened with that?
After my mother cut that man, we didn't move back there, so I didn't see him.
Oh, you didn't see him
I
anymore.
don't even know what happened to him.
So with the 18-year-old, did he ever try to kiss you or have sex with you or push you into anything?
Kissed me, but
Oh,
no.
okay. So at 12 years old, you start kissing, or did you start kissing boys before 12?
I didn't kiss nobody before 12.
Oh, so at the age of, so after the age of 12, you was basically starting to be active.
If you want to say that.
Yeah, that's
But
being.
he was the only one kiss. I didn't kiss nobody. Well, way long time.
So he was the first boy he kissed. And how many years after that would you say that you met somebody where you were interested in kissing? Was it Troy?
Yeah, it was him.
And you said Troy was tall, and was he built like Daddy, or he was tall and built like Daddy? So did you and Troy relationship last a long time, or?
Yeah, he had gave me a ring,
When you say a ring, what do you mean by ring?
an engagement ring.
So you got engaged at the age of 16. So did you tell your mother you was engaged?
No, because I gave him his ring back. You know that was because he was going. It was like me, but he was going another girl,
So he was going with another girl.
and I didn't find out way later. But we had broken up anyway. You know,
But he was going with this girl at the time y'all was dating?
I think me and her were going to the same school. And I know the girl, but I didn't know that until way
Later after you broke up with him?
yeah. I found out.
So was you excited about the engagement ring?
Yeah, stupid you. He gave me a ring and I was showing everybody. But I gave it back because he gave me it because he had been in the service and he had come out.
Oh, so this is another situation. So when you going with another older man? So is it that you liked an older man growing up, or this was just a situation to where it just happened to be that they were older?
It just happened to be there.
So when you say he was older, can you tell me how old Troy was?
I don't even remember how old Troy was. Like I said, he went to the service and he had come back.
So in the service, didn't you have to be at least 18 years old?
And he had been to the service and back. So he might have been
Wait a minute.
20, 21.
Oh, Jesus. So you was about 15, 16.
Yeah.
Going with, we'll just estimate a 21-year-old guy, right? And you got engaged to this guy. And did Grandma ever meet this Troy?
She did, but my mother, as I said, my mother was on the go.
Okay, but she did meet him.
She seen him, but I didn't, he didn't come to the house like that.
So you were seeing a guy. So was it that you didn't want her to find out how old he was, or it was just that something Granny was not interested in?
Who was I going to introduce? Because my mother wasn't home that much. She come in and out. She stayed with Miss Mary's house more than she stayed at our house.
At your house.
Yeah. So who was I going to take to Miss Mary's house and introduce? Like I said, I seen him, we either sit outside or somewhere like that. We never went nowhere.
Okay, so how did you meet him? Do you remember how you met him?
There's a whole lot of other boys because
Wait a minute. Are you saying there was a whole lot of other boys before him, or it was just?
no,
Oh, okay.
People hung out with, like at the and Sue had the shoe shine parlor. Most of them boys come to the shoe shine parlor, and that's the way you imagine. You know them. You know somebody that knows them because he had a cousin, and his cousin's name was Claude, and he liked me. He always said, "Give me." I couldn't stand him.
Oh, you couldn't stand Claude. Is there a particular reason you didn't stand Claude?
He's black and ugly.
Oh my God! He said black and ugly. Oh God! Okay.
Bosa had a friend too. He liked me.
Oh my
He used to come to the house, and he used to. I never talked to him, but he used to come and pretend he was living with Bosa, and he used to always bring my mother some chewing gum. I think she liked that spearmint gum.
Oh, okay.
but beef snacks on. And he always bring her a pack of that, Like that, he's coming, I never about him.
So with this Troy guy, with him being older, I'm assuming because he was older, y'all was sexually active.
No.
Y'all was not sexually active. So he got engaged with you, and y'all never did the do.
No.
Okay, so you broke. Do you remember why you broke off the engagement?
No, he broke up because he was, like I said, he had been to the steroids and back, and he was. That's when that cocaine stuff was out. And
so he started using.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That, and he really broke up because he told me I was too nice of a girl. He didn't want to mess up my life, and that's how we got it.
Okay, so he broke it off with you because he saw his life going downhill, and he cared about you enough to say, "I'm not going to drag you with me." Oh, okay. I guess you can, in a way, you can appreciate that because he could have drove you down with him, but he chose not to. So I guess in a way, even though he was an older man, he ain't got no business with you. He should have never got involved with you. So even though y'all was not sexually active, did he ever want to be sexually active, and you said no? Or it's just that conversation y'all didn't never have to have?
No, we never had to have that.
Okay.
I really didn't see it that long, it was just different things. Like I said, only then I said when we had that club, and the boys had their club, and we had a club, everybody had a boyfriend except Louise.
So what is the name of this club? Do you remember the name of the club and who started the club?
We started it. Louise, me, Betty.
And it's who's Betty? Is that okay?
Yvonne.
And that's another Louise cousin.
Yeah, Vivian.
Okay. Vivian cousin. That's another cousin.
And what's that other girl's name? I can't think of her name.
Was it another cousin or a friend?
Friend.
Right. Okay, so what about this club? What did y'all do at the club? It was just a club that boys and girls hanging together, or?
No, it was just a club that we had, and I think we had, what colors we had? We had some colors. I can't even remember what our club names were, and the colors, and
Is this the club you talked about where sometime Aunt Sue made dinners for y'all to sell?
My mother and Aunt Sue.
Oh, and Granny and Aunt Sue. Oh, okay.
We sold dinners, and then we had parties. We had to pay to come in. We had those kind of parties. And we had sold dinners.
So was this a very successful club for a while?
Yeah, we had good money.
Yeah, good money. So what happened? Do you remember what happened to the club while the club started? Did y'all just get older and it was just not?
Got older and everybody
kind of went their own separate ways?
They had got pregnant, and the other girl, she got pregnant, and Hannah was in it. She got pregnant.
Oh, good. So everybody just started having babies.
Yeah, and they got, they went and got married, and they went on. We just stopped having the club. Everybody, got older. And,
so what age were y'all? Do you remember when y'all started this club? Like when y'all started the club? Were y'all teenagers or? You was teenagers. Oh, okay. Would you say about 14, 15 or?
Yeah, about like that.
Right around that.
Went on up to, until I got 16.
So, Granny and Aunt Sue was never concerned that a bunch of young teenage girls was having a club? Or did they come visit and make sure y'all was okay? It was just like, we're going to make these dinners and y'all do what y'all do and that'd be fine.
No, they were serving the dinners out of the apartment where we took over Cliff's apartment. They soon and cooked the food there, the people coming by dinner.
Oh, they buy dinners that way. Oh, okay. So it was not like y'all was in some type of recreational room or nothing like that. It was like selling dinners out of the home type thing.
But the parties we had at I don't know what you call them places. You rent and have a party or something like that. We had parties.
So what did y'all do with the money? Did y'all just whatever? If y'all made $200 for the night, y'all split it among each other, or?
No, we just taking and having something else, and then we bought different things for ourselves.
Oh, okay. So did Granny and Sue?
The last party we had, they fought, and my mother had come by there. And that's when the party broke up. And my mother took me home. Louise went home. And that was the last party we had. That's what Hannah said. Somebody stole the money, but she stole it.
Oh, so you believe Hannah is a thief?
We thought she had the money.
Did Aunt Sue and Granny ever take a profit, or they just?
No.
Oh yeah, it was just y'all. They just helped y'all out by making the dinners.
Yeah.
Oh, so to help y'all make money. So did the Louise? Did she know Troy? Oh, so she knew Troy. So at the time you was dating Troy, was Louise dating someone, or she didn't have nobody at the time?
Not that I know of. But I mean, we had that club, and the other boys had club, and like I said, everybody had a boyfriend with her.
And you said
She liked it. She liked this club, but he never got a chance to go in.
oh, she didn't. Is there a reason why, or?
Because well, what's that girl name? She took it.
So somebody else. Also, somebody. She liked the boy, but a friend took it. Was it a friend or just somebody I knew?
Louis' problem was Aunt Sue.
Oh, when you say Louise's problem ain't Sue, what do you mean by that?
She was always telling them, I told her, you got to have money, you got to do this, and,
Oh, okay.
I told you what your father's cousin told her.
Oh, when he said, I see what your problem is, and he was referring to her mother.
He came up to her, he said, you married? She said, no, I'm not married. He said, well, what? He said, what is your problem? You not married? He said, ugly as my wife is, she got married.
Wow.
I can't understand. Huh? He said, I can't understand why you ain't married. So they should come over there. Oh, you want to talk to my daughter? He said, oh, I see your problem. He keep me laughing. He was crazy.
And what was the name of Daddy's cousin? What was his name?
I can't think of his name. All I can think of is Ralph. I think it was Ralph.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was Ralph.
And it was one of that Daddy's closest.
It was that his aunt, the one you met before she died.
Which one was that? The one in Hillside?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That was his mother?
Yeah.
Oh.
That was
And he only had a sister.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So her sister was, she was real light. He was more color than his mother.
Oh, okay. I think his mother was dark. Was his mother dark?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Always kept you laughing.
That's crazy. He said, oh, I see what your problem is. So, when you got pregnant with Tiny, your oldest child, was that the first time you became sexually active?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and was that like a serious boyfriend? You was with a very long time, or?
Yeah, I liked him.
You liked him. Do you remember his name?
Philip.
Philip. Oh, okay. And once you got pregnant, was it you that broke up with Philip? Philip broke up with you. What happened in that situation?
No, we broke up together because he was back to Philly. He was from Philly anyway.
Oh, so he was originally from Philly. Mm-hmm. So did he come to you and say, Claude, I'm leaving. Do you want to come with me? Keep in touch. I want to know about the baby. Huh?
I won't go anywhere.
I know you probably weren't going to go anywhere, but my question was, did he approach you?
No.
So did he just up and leave and you didn't know he was leaving? Did he say, I want to know about the baby?
I know he was leaving. No, I didn't know.
So after you found out he was leaving, were you hurt and disgusted to where you didn't want to keep in touch with him and let him know about the baby, or?
No, I didn't. It was over with. That was the end of that.
So you wasn't concerned that your child would not have a father? Mm-hmm. So you was more in your feelings and how you felt and not concerned that, I'm having this baby and this baby needs a father. So you were like, okay, best of luck to you, nigga. And you moved on. Is that what you saying, how you felt at the time?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And what was Granny's reaction when I know you was 17 or 18?
17, going on 18 now.
17 going on 18. So when you went to Granny, did Grandma find out that you were pregnant, or you went to her and told her you were pregnant?
No, I think my mother got concerned when I lost so much weight because I got down to 125 pounds, 200 and something, because I wasn't eating and drinking, so she took me to the doctor.
So is that when you found out you were pregnant, or you knew before then?
I found out then.
Oh, so you found out then. So when the doctor came in and said, "Oh, you're pregnant," that's the issue. That may be the problem. Did you I
didn't want to be pregnant, but hey, I had no other choice.
And was this after Philip left or before Philip left?
Oh, it was after.
It was after Philip left. Okay, so Philip didn't know you was having a baby, and you never tried to reach out to Philip. Okay. So
What are you doing?
when you found out, you were unhappy about the pregnancy, you're saying?
No, I wouldn't say unhappy, but I just didn't,
Or did you say "Oh crap"? What my mother gonna say now? Was you worried about what Granny was gonna say? Oh, so you had no concern.
Because like I said, I didn't know, and we found out about the same time when I was at the doctor.
So there was no Granny saying, "Oh, Claudia, did you know you were pregnant?"
No.
Oh, but when the doctor came in, she realized that you just found out yourself that you were pregnant.
Yeah, but she thought I was
Sick?
sick.
Oh, okay. So she was concerned and she took you to the doctor.
Yeah.
So what made them do a pregnancy test, though? If you didn't feel you was pregnant and Granny didn't feel you were pregnant, is that just something they did?
I guess they took a test. Whatever test they took,
It showed, so it must have been like a blood test or a urine test,
Yeah.
and they must have took that sample and find out that you were pregnant.
Like I said, I lost so much weight and I wasn't eating. So that's another thing. My mother, she was trying to cook and eat, and I couldn't even stand the smell of food.
So after y'all left the doctor's office, did you and Granny have a conversation, or was it just left as is?
She just left as is.
So there was.
She asked, I know who the father was and stuff like that.
Oh, so she did ask you who the father is. So did you tell her who the father was?
Yeah, I told her.
So did you say he ass out of town now? I mean, I'm sorry, I'm cursing. That he's out of town now. He left town.
Yeah.
Oh, and then what was her response? That the daddy's gone. I'm all alone. Did she say anything, or was just left alone? Okay, so there was no. Okay, don't worry about it, Claudia. We ain't got no daddy for this baby, but it's gonna be okay. Did she make you feel?
She made it feel like it's gonna be okay. Like I said, she waited on me. She didn't go out no more. She stayed right with me,
Oh, so she stayed with you. It was a. Would you say a better mother-daughter connection once you got pregnant?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So she was there through your whole pregnancy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So there was never a question of whether you're going to keep it or not. It was just a question of we going home and we're going to deal with this type of situation.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So once you had Tani, what changed to where Granny ended up raising her and you didn't raise her? Even though, like you say, you saw her and stuff like that, but what was the transition to Granny taking care of her, raising her, and you not raising her?
I think it was really when I got married. Your brother.
So before you got married, it was basically Granny, you, and Tani. So it wasn't really Granny was taking care of Tani at the time, because you were still living in the household. So you would say...
I was living in the household and I was getting the money and I was taking care of Tani.
Oh, okay.
So when I got married, my mother suggested that I let her keep Tani and she get the check.
So
Because
when she came...
Once I go to the welfare people and tell them that I'm married, they were going to cut it out, or your father would have to say he was going to take care,
So when it comes to, Granny said, okay, let me keep her, and her main interest, I don't know, but maybe like her 100% interest was not just so in the check, but in also raising a grandchild that she basically got to love and had that child there. So it was like,
I don't say she was definitely for the check, but she just wanted after. Like I said, it was just me and her before.
yeah,
And after I was leaving, she wanted to have
someone.
something.
So it was like, would you say it was like a second chance at raising a child for her, like raising a daughter?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
And
mostly what it was.
who idea was it to name Tiny Josephine?
It was mine.
Oh, so you named it. You thought it would be.
My Aunt Mary said they gonna send a telegram saying, goddamn, they got them two goddamn crazy ass Josephine. She said, why you do that to that baby?
And what was your response when she asked you why you do that to baby?
Because my aunt was crazy.
So once you got married, okay, and I understand Granny said, "Oh, let me keep the baby." Is there any reason why you didn't say to her, "No, I'm going to take my daughter with me"? I'm saying I appreciate you wanting to, keep her and have her here with you, but I'm going to take my daughter with you. Is there any reason why you didn't take her with you?
No, there wasn't no reason. Your father, he would have just gone. Like I said, when we lived on Princeton, Ty was there every morning. I took her, make sure she get to school, comb the hair, different things.
So at no point, what I'm kind of like confused about is that at no point did Daddy say, "I think it's best we bring your daughter here."
No, he didn't say that.
He never said that. Did y'all ever have a conversation to where y'all discussed maybe possibly her moving in with y'all?
No, we never talked about it.
So even after y'all started having like more kids, you was knocked up when y'all first got married with Pumpkin. So even after you had Pumpkin, there was no conversation where, say, okay, even I understand he didn't say anything, but did you ever go to him and say, I want my daughter here and I want to live with us? So it was, your thought was, well, my mother have her, raising her, I get to see her, so I'm okay with that because I get to see her and she comes over here and she hangs out. So it's not like a situation to where you didn't get to see your daughter, it was just that you wasn't raising your daughter, your mother was raising her.
She was there and she was calling your father Daddy too.
Oh, so she called him Daddy.
Yeah.
And he didn't have any, he never said, "Oh, don't call me Daddy" or anything. It was just a situation y'all never had a conversation about her coming to live with you.
We was having such a hard time of taking care of y'all.
But I understand y'all was having a hard time, but my confusion is you have to remember that, y'all was having a hard time, I'm pretty sure, with Pumpkin because she was sleeping in the drawer, right?
Oh, yeah,
when you first got married. So that hard time didn't stop y'all from having 5 more. So I understand what you're saying, that y'all was having such a hard time, but my thinking is like, if you're having such a hard time, why you have so many other kids, why didn't y'all take in Tiny and let her live with y'all before Supreme? I know, y'all, when y'all got married, you was already having a baby. I understand that. But after that fact, I'm trying to understand is why didn't y'all, why didn't Daddy say, okay?
I guess it never comes to our mind to bring Tiny in, to live with us because she was always there. So let's just say she had stayed.
So y'all basically came complacent to what the situation. Y'all was okay with the situation. Yeah. Y'all saw nothing wrong with the situation.
As I say, I can't say we saw nothing wrong with it because we never talked about it.
Okay. So it's just that y'all never had a discussion about it.
It would be different if I said we had a discussion and he said this and I said that.
Yeah, but there was just never no.
It was never brought up.
So, did Tiny ever go like down in the neck with us when we was little, when Daddy was living? Like, she was calling him Daddy. Did he, was he a daddy to her? So did he, I know when she came to the house, I'm assuming he treated her as one of his own when she came to the house. Mm-hmm. But was it ever a situation to where he say, I want her to feel like a part of the family? When I take the kids down, to see my mother, I want to also.
Y'all wasn't going down there to holidays anyway.
But I'm saying, was it ever a situation to where he took us with her? I know we probably didn't go to holidays, but was it ever a situation where she went down with us growing up before Daddy passed and he took us down in the neck? Was it ever a time
No, he never, like I said, you only went on holidays. No, Donnie never went with y'all
Oh.
on holidays.
Oh, okay.
That's the only time y'all went. Like it was Easter, and y'all only went then because we were going out.
So after what do I want to say? Oh, so after Carmen passed, did y'all have did you feel like you didn't want any more kids because you didn't want to possibly experience that, have that sorrow again? Or did you remember ever having a conversation about having more kids after that?
Mm-hmm.
No, it was just a situation to where y'all was, doing the do, and you know what I'm saying? There was no type of thought to, well, did y'all ever discuss birth control?
Yeah, I think when I had time, when I had
Tara.
Tara.
So it was 1, 2, 3, 4. How many kids? Wait. So it was Pumpkin, Big Boy.
Yeah.
Well, you had Tiny, so she wasn't part of you having. I mean, that wasn't his child, per se. So you had Pumpkin, Big Boy, Carmen, me, and Tara. So you only had 5 kids with him. I thought it was 6. Okay, so you only had 5 kids with him. So you said y'all didn't have a birth control conversation until after you had 5 kids. Mm-hmm. Even though you stated to me previously that y'all was having such a hard time. That there was no conversation. Like, okay, we got Pumpkin, we got Daryl.
Oh, but I took birth control pills, but it didn't do me no good.
Okay, so when you realized that, so at what point did you start taking birth control pills? Like, after what child?
I can't remember what child it was, but I know I took them.
So you knew at one point, did you have any more kids after the birth control?
Yeah, I did with the birth control pills.
Oh, so you had a problem with birth control. Birth control didn't work for you.
So when Tara was born, I got an IUD. And it's supposed to last 3, 4, 5 years, which it did.
Oh, so y'all just say, so basically you was taking birth control and the babies were still popping out.
Yeah.
And you didn't think, I need to go to the doctor to see what's wrong because we can't keep having kids because we can't even afford the ones we have.
No,
Y'all didn't have that conversation. So was it that y'all was enjoying the moment?
Oh, come on.
Or, you know what I'm saying, y'all was enjoying the moment too much? That y'all didn't have that conversation? Did you ever say, okay?
We didn't have that conversation.
Y'all didn't have that conversation. So it was never a conversation where you said, okay, Bruford, I think we need to hold off on this for a while till I get my birth control issues resolved here. Okay. So, you mentioned like one time Bozo came over to the house and he didn't come inside because Daddy said he was there and he knew he better not bring his behind inside the house.
The door.
So Daddy answered the door. And did Bozo say, oh, can I see my sister? Is my sister home? Or Daddy just opened the door and closed it and said, your brother outside?
I don't know which way it was. All he said was, your brother outside. So I said, well, he inside? He said, no, he's not coming in. He know not to come in here. Huh? So I don't know if he opened the door and seen him.
Or did he look out the peek hole?
No, I don't know if he had no peek hole.
Oh, okay.
He opened it. He knocked on the door and he opened it. And then because I was in the room with y'all.
Okay.
So I don't know, what happened. He just come and told me, your brother in the hallway. So I didn't ask him, did he ask for me, or what did you say to him? Or he said, I said, where he at? He said, he in the hallway. And I said, oh, he can come in. He said, no, he know not to come in here. And then when I went out there to talk, I don't know what we talked about.
He don't remember what he came there for?
I can't remember. He came to ask something stupid.
So, were you upset with your husband that he was saying that your brother couldn't come in there? Or you didn't care that he didn't want your brother there?
I didn't care because after whatever, I can't remember what he came for, but it was something stupid. I think he came to ask me something about my mother, where she at, or something.
Oh, okay.
And I told him I didn't know, and I went back in the house, and that's when I asked your father, I said, why you say he went there? That's when he told me, because he slapped my sister. And I said, oh, I didn't know, I didn't know nothing about that.
So did he mention that he beat on Bozo, or he never interacted with Bozo after Mabel got slapped?
I wish he didn't interact with him. I don't know if they fought, but I know he probably threatened him. You know, Rosa. But Rosa wasn't gonna talk back. He was scared of me.
So, after Daddy passed, did you feel supported by his side of the family, like his family? Did you feel supported by his family? I mean, thinking back, if you can remember that, I mean, that's a long time ago.
Sure, supported like what?
Like, did they come over, or did they ever come over and say, you know what, or call you and say, we're going to take the kids for a while, we know you got things to do, or...
Your fathers, the people that went to school with him came and helped me.
So you're saying that his friends from school was more supportive at the time of his death than...
I mean, your grandfather came over once in a while, you know, but nobody came over there to...
I'm saying, like, to help you, like, in your time of need. Did anyone ever call you and say, you know what, Claude, do you need anything? Do the kids need anything? Even before we move out of Prince Street.
I just told you who came. The people from the school, like Marsha and Mary and his other friend. Marsha did more than any of them, but she, the other girl, you know, she would stay there with y'all, you know, while I could go tend to the business or go take care of this and take care of that.
So even after the funeral, was Marsha still the only one that was, like, really, would you say, supportive, or were there other people? Anyone else than Marsha?
Marsha, you know, she was right there all the time, you know.
Would you say Grandma was supportive when Daddy died?
I don't know what you mean, supportive.
Again, supportive meaning that they were there for you. If you needed something to help you with your small children. No. That's what I mean by support.
No, my mother didn't. My mother didn't come there. She was working, and then she wasn't over there in my house, like you said, taking care of y'all. So
there was never a situation to where you know, again, what I'm saying, supportive.
People that I didn't know
did more for you than your family.
Yeah.
And then his family. Yeah. Besides grandfather bringing his nosy behind down to visit and probably did nothing for nobody. But that's just me and my anger. So this video is about you. So I'm not going to project my anger that I feel about those people onto this video.
Those people were over more, you know, from the school as they come by or something like that. Like I said, Marsha was there every day.
So did Grace, that you remember, and I mean, I know this is a long time ago, and your memory is probably not as good as it used to be, and it's probably because it was a painful situation that, you know, your memory may be lost. But do you remember Grace ever giving you a call? I know she was like, you know, she let us come down and we would go down.
You know, like I said, I know she didn't come out. She might have.
But I'm saying, like, did she say, I'm calling?
Said, you know, if you need help, bring the kids down or something like that. She probably said that.
Okay, so you remember, it's your belief based on her generosity and knowing what a good woman she was, unlike the rest of them, that she, there I go again, projecting my anger. I'm going to try to prevent from doing that, but, because this video is about you and your memories, but.
She didn't drive and all that.
Yeah, she didn't drive and she didn't really come out the house, but. You would say, so she was, I would consider that being a supportive person, because most likely she did reach out to you and stay in touch, I'm assuming, after his death, she stayed in touch, and, you know. So when grandfather came down to the project, do you remember, like, what was y'all interaction? I'm not talking about, like, at the time Daddy died, but, you know, like, maybe months after. Do you remember y'all interaction? Like, when he came down, did he come down and bring groceries, or did he come down and bring you a couple of dollars, other than that $100 he wanted you to pay back for his son's suit? Oh, so he never brought you no money. Oh, okay. Well, maybe he didn't have it. You know, that's possible. Maybe he didn't have it. You know, he probably had it for the rest of his grandkids, but, you know, but there I go with my anger again. Oh, yeah. Oh my, you can't be talking about bread. We're doing a video here. You worry about what's over there.
Whose bread is that?
I got that from the store.
It's been on bed all the time. I'm tired, man.
Okay, we almost done, man. Come on. We're almost done. I gotta have a video clip, memories, your memory. I have to have video of your memories, because as I get older, I'm going to forget things, and I can look back and say, this is what my mother told me of her memories. Okay. So after Daddy passed, let's move on because you're getting tired. And you only get tired because you didn't want to do this originally anyway. But you know what I'm saying? You should want to leave memories. Okay, so let's move on. So we passed Daddy's death and stuff. So once Daddy died, you moved into with Granny because you didn't want to stay there. Now, do you remember? Did you just leave all his items there?
He dropped some.
Or did you give it to Goodwill or Salvation Army? Do you remember? Did you keep any of his items? So it wasn't like a situation to where maybe he had a piece of jewelry or something that was important to him, whether it's a card, piece of paper, a letter, or anything. So that card that you just mentioned that he sent you, that you still have 70 years later, can you figure, or do you know why it has lasted so many years? He gave you that in 1960, 61 or something like that? What year did you meet him?
In 63.
63? So in 63, right after y'all started dating each other, he sent that postcard?
Yeah, because I think it was one night that he had came by to visit. And he went home, and he said he went home and wrote that. And I got it the next day.
Okay, so it was like a love letter, but in a postcard. Mm-hmm. And what's surprising is that many things have not survived. Pictures and so many things. But for some reason, and I would say, I'm 50 years old, and I was born in 68. I met in 63, so that's like 5 years. So we'll say 5 years off my age is 45 years. So I would say about 45 years, that postcard has survived. And that's like weird to me, because I said pictures that you said you no longer have. It's it's funny that postcard has lasted for at least 45 years. You held on to that. Is that because that's the only written thing that you had from your husband that you feel like you...
The Bible is the thing he wrote in the Bible, but...
Oh, yeah, he did.
It's raggedy.
It's raggedy, but you still got it, though. So, no matter how raggedy in the pages and all the writing and tearing you said we did in that Bible, that's another item you have. Do you feel like you held on to it because it was him? It was a gift from him?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. So, once he passed and you moved in with Granny, when did y'all make the decision to say, okay, we no longer going to live in the projects, we want to go purchase a house together? We
made that decision before your father died.
Oh, so you, Daddy, and Granny, y'all was going to get a house together. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, so that was already in the plan. It was nothing like, oh, he passed, I got to get out of here type thing.
He always said he didn't want y'all to live in the projects. And my mother was
along with it.
So she just said we get a house together.
Oh, okay.
So that's why we kept on.
So even after he died, y'all still had that conversation. Well, let's go ahead and still try to find a house.
Yeah, he didn't want y'all in the project.
And so, was that your way of honoring his wishes, that his kids not grow up in the project?
The things I did that I wished I hadn't did, I don't know, two things, but it's one thing. It's where he said he wanted to be buried at. I listened to your grandfather.
Oh, why you tell me that? Oh my God!
And,
grandfather made a suggestion. You followed it?
Yeah.
What? So, do you feel like he pressured you into it, or?
It was his father, and I was, at the time, I was not in the position of making them.
Decisions you felt?
Yeah.
So, Daddy died, and at one point, grandfather came to you and said what regarding his burial?
I think it was the funeral parlor. I can't remember which one it was, the funeral parlor or the...
But why would the funeral parlor suggest a burial ground? Don't they usually live at...
I don't mean the I think it was the funeral parlor, the one he didn't want to go to.
So grandfather suggested, wait, Daddy wanted to go to a particular, y'all had a conversation to where he said, if I pass, I want to go to this funeral home?
Yeah.
And what funeral home was that?
I can't remember which one was it.
It was,
Cotton,
oh yeah, so it used to be Cotton, it used to be Perry, so I only remember 3, Cotton, Perry, and Wiggums.
I think it was Wiggums he didn't want to go. I can't remember.
So which one did you decide? Was it Wiggums you decided to?
I can't remember which one it was, but I think it's in the Bible.
Oh, which one? And I think in the Bible, if I remember correctly, it said Wiggums.
Yeah.
We're going to have to check that out. Definitely. You have to remember to check that out. But, so, grandfather had a conversation.
And I think he wanted to go to Cotton. I think his grandfather suggested Cotton.
So he came.
Whatever funeral parlor, if I can know what funeral parlor.
So regardless of what funeral parlor it was, the one that Daddy ended up was not the one he wanted to go to. It was the one grandfather wanted to go to. So did grandfather give you like a reason why he wanted to protect, for him to go to that funeral home?
No, he was just suggesting, we can take him to this funeral parlor.
Oh.
Yeah.
So most likely it probably was a funeral parlor that they preferred using, him and his family.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, but it wasn't a choice that Daddy wanted. So basically, it was just like probably a situation to where it sounded like Daddy didn't want to be buried where the rest of those people were. The rest of his family is. That's what it sounded like to me.
I don't know where the rest of the people were buried at.
Well, obviously they was buried where grandfather wanted them to be. Well, nobody was dead then, right? No, nobody was dead then. So yeah, so it can't be that. Okay, we'll give them that one. But
I wish it had been. Because they always buried off of that street.
Yeah, it was funny that he was buried over there.
Because that one wasn't there.
So the one on Central Avenue was not there.
No, I think what it was, when you go to this funeral parlor, they were all buried at the...
But Grace didn't die too far after Daddy.
Yeah, but it was that funeral parlor, that was the popular funeral parlor. I mean,
so the funeral parlor...
Not the funeral parlor, but the grave site.
That was the grave site for the funeral parlor, you saying?
Yeah.
So if you went to Cotton's, Cotton had a certain grave site.
Yeah.
If you went to Wiggums, they had a certain grave site. And so whatever they went to, that Grace, because Grace didn't die that far after grandfather, unless that was just a new grave site that they built a couple of years after Daddy died.
I think it was.
It was a grave site that they just built after Daddy died. Because I remember Patty saying that grandfather used to talk about getting Daddy moved from that grave site that he was buried at to the one that Grace was at. Not Grace. No. Yeah, but I'm mentioning the one that Grace is buried at because I don't remember anybody else being dead. And I know it was on Central Avenue because I believe Gravestone is by the gate.
Your father died and got in there, that cemetery went down.
Oh, okay. So after he died, it wasn't a place to be buried at.
I wish I'd have known that it was going to go down like that. I'd have had the money to dig him up and put him over here.
Oh, okay. So it was just that you didn't have the money to do so.
And then when it buried down, you ain't got no papers. You don't know.
Yeah, because that thing closed down.
Yeah. So who you gonna go to get the papers?
The papers and the lot and stuff like that.
What you can do.
Did we not find his gravestone one time?
Yeah.
It was me, you, Big Boy, and Pumpkin?
Yeah.
Okay.
Big Boy got mad with us.
and that thing was like deep down in there.
Yeah.
And I think somebody, I don't know if it was Pumpkin or Big Boy, that just happened to walk upon it and find it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It had a headstone, but we still it
was like really sunk down in the ground. So now we don't even have a gravesite to visit our father.
Your sister out there too, but she was way over on the other side.
Did she have a stone or no?
No, we never.
She didn't have a stone. Oh, okay. So did it have like one of those markers or?
Well, you know that marker been gone.
Yeah, I know the marker's been gone.
It was gone way a long time ago. Gone before your father died.
It's just sad that cemetery started going bad after.
Yeah.
And you couldn't, you didn't have the finance to pull them up out of there and put them in a better one So where we all could have visited him, you know, at least went to the gravesite if we wanted to, you know, to visit the gravesite. Wow. That is crazy that it went downhill after he got buried.
Mm-hmm. Over that side, it used to stay crowded with people, you know, visiting. Then all of a sudden, they just shut it down.
Yeah.
Because they said that they didn't have nobody to keep it up. And I think they could have found somebody. Maybe everybody don't want that job.
That could be it. I bet you can't find a gravesite on that lot anymore. Nobody gravesite. The way, because it was bad years before I moved here, so you know you wasn't gonna find anything. So I guess a lot of families are at loss because they can't.
It hurts, you know, it hurts. It hurts. You know, a lot of people got buried there for years and years.
Yeah, and now you know you can't even go there. Bryce, come here. I asked you to stop going across the camera while I'm filming, right? And you keep doing it. Go wake up Pop.
Tell Pop to get up.
Tell Granny gonna be ready to go soon. She tired of my video and we ain't done yet.
Just tell Pop to get up.
You said that angrily. Like,
no, because he gonna get halfway down there and say what it is.
Oh. What was my next question? Before you really make me shut down this video.
I'm ready.
I know you are.
Too much now.
Did Daddy ever talk about whether he was close with any of his sisters, or he just never had that conversation with you?
No.
Did you sense that maybe, even though he never said nothing, that he was close with one particular sister than the other? No, so okay. But Mabel used to come down there sometimes, right? I thought she used to come down and smoke the weed with Daddy. Or bring him the weed?
No, I brought her the day he died.
Oh, so was that one particular day she bought the...
I know of because he used to go down and make himself. So he could have been getting it himself.
Oh, but you remember, that's the only time you remember she came to the house.
Yeah, because as I said that day, I had went over to get some... a detergent to wash some clothes. Okay. And when I come back, he said Mabel had been there and brought him some weed. And I told him, you know you're not supposed to be smoking. You're not supposed to have a cigarette or nothing, so why would you... And I said, I wish I had been here. I'd have told her they don't give you no stuff. So, what? I needed something for my nerves.
Oh, so he sounded like that's what Tyra get it from, cause she would say, "Oh, I need something for my nerves." So okay, so now we see she got one thing of Daddy. She got his nerves was bad too. Okay, I get it. So you just stated that to him, but you didn't try to in any way try to stop him and say, you know what, you better not. You know, I'm gonna check that. You know I'm supposed to.
Well, he didn't smoke it while I was there. He smoked before I got back there.
Oh, so he did the smoking before you got back to where you couldn't, he knew if you wasn't there, you couldn't stop him from, or...
Well, I wasn't there. He told me that.
Oh, so she brought it and they smoked it. Oh, he smoked it.
That's when he saw, playing with Pumpkin and playing hide and seek. Well, you was too little to play. You were 2 years old. You didn't know you was probably running, but you didn't know.
Okay. So you said that is the day that he died.
Yeah.
Now, before that date, was he still smoking cigarettes and wasn't supposed to? So he stopped smoking the cigarettes.
Yeah.
He just wouldn't stop smoking the weed.
Yeah, well, he had stopped smoking that too. He didn't have none, and he didn't go out and get none.
Oh.
But neighbor brought him some.
So, and he said, "I'm gonna smoke it," and you're like, "Oh, you weren't supposed to smoke it," and he said, "I needed something for my nerves."
Yeah, he's on my head. Well, he told me, I was hurting and I'm worried. I don't know why they tell me I can't smoke. They told me don't smoke no cigarettes, and he sat there talking like that. So I said, well, when you go to the doctor tomorrow, you can ask them, why, he can give you all the information.
So they told him to stop smoking, and he never bothered to ask why do I need to stop smoking?
Told him when he goes to to this doctor. Like you got him, your medical.
So was it a situation where he went to an emergency room and they didn't wasn't okay? So it's like now you go to the emergency room, they may give you a little information, but they always say you need to go see your primary care doctor, for further treatment. And
the doctor that was seeing him in the hospital made an appointment for him to come to his office, and and he told him what not to do until he come to his office, and I guess he was gonna tell him what to do, or probably give him some medicine.
So the doctor he had an appointment with the next day. Before he died, for the next day, the doctor called him, or
he made the appointment before he left the hospital.
He made the appointment before he left the hospital, and the doctor he saw at the hospital. Is this the time that he stayed in the hospital a couple of days, or?
Yeah, he stayed.
Also, he had stayed in the hospital a couple of days before he died.
Yeah.
Okay, so in the hospital, and I remember you said they gave him something, and he said something about it made his stomach hurt, or?
No. Me and your grandmother was there, and he said they gave me a pill, and he said it gave me such a pain in my chest. And I said, you didn't know what it was, or what? He said, no, it just hurt my chest. And that's all he said.
And did he mention whether, or did you ask? Did he say something to the hospital that pill hurt his chest, or?
I guess he told him that. So.
Okay.
He didn't say nothing else, because like I said, when you go to the hospital, you don't see nobody. You see the nurses and stuff. The doctors you don't see. So
was it a hospital stay or just like an emergency visit?
No, he was hospital stay. I think he stayed in there at least 3. Maybe he might have stayed a month, or 3 weeks. Or.
Wait a minute. He was in the hospital for at least 3 weeks?
Yeah.
And y'all never found out why he was in the hospital for 3 weeks?
They were running tests on him.
So he stayed in the hospital for 3 weeks.
I think it was 3 weeks or 2 weeks or something.
For at least 2 weeks, you would say.
Yeah.
And they ran tests, and they never gave him the results of the tests, or do you feel like he just kept information from you?
I don't know. He never stated. He never said what they said was wrong with him, and he never, said.
And you never. After a 2 week stay, you never asked him, like, when he came out the hospital?
He said nobody never told him nothing. Because, like I said, when he came home, he said the doctor told him he can't smoke, and he don't know why he told him that. I didn't never see the doctor.
Oh, okay, so it was like a situation to where he saw the doctor.
And he was asking me, wonder why they say I can't smoke. I said, well, you didn't ask him. When you go to the doctor, then you got to ask him,
Yeah.
He would never make it to the doctor.
So in them 2 weeks he was.
That Monday he was supposed to go to the doctor. He died
Sunday
night.
So that 2 weeks he was in the hospital, did you feel like it was going to be a bad result, like a bad end?
No, he was better than he was when he was home. He seemed better.
Yeah. Okay. So he got sick.
He got sick first. I mean, he was sick a good while before he could even find a doctor, and he went to the emergency room.
Oh, okay, so he was sick at home.
They really didn't. They worse then than they are now.
Oh, okay. So it was like it was a situation where he said, "Oh, Claude, I'm not feeling well."
Yeah, he was trying to find a doctor. He couldn't sleep at night. He was up more at night. And I told you that cold medicine.
Yeah.
He drank more cold medicine and alcohol.
Cold medicine with alcohol, or?
Yeah, he drank some cold medicine trying to figure he had a cold, I think maybe it was his heart was bad, and not knowing that it was bad, and he was thinking he had a cold.
Yeah, and he drank that. Yeah, like you feel like my chest is chest. You gotta make a chest pain. You're like, my chest, I must be congested, type of thing, and you go get that over the counter stuff instead of going to the doctor. And
he was going trying to find a doctor, but he couldn't find one.
And so he finally decided, well, I'm going to the hospital because I'm not sleeping. Did he, previous to his death, did he ever, besides that pill incident, did he ever complain of chest pain?
No.
No, he never complained of chest pain. So, whose idea was it for him to go to the hospital finally? Was it your suggestion or?
No, he just suggested. He just because he wasn't getting no better. with all that cold medicine, so he just went to the emergency room.
So did you feel like an overwhelming concern that he wouldn't get better, or it was like a situation? Oh, once he goes see the doctor, I'm pretty sure he's gonna get better.
Well, I never thought that would happen. No, I didn't think he.
Yeah, I know you didn't know death was going to happen, but I'm saying like
I didn't think he was that bad off.
that he's bad off. That
Yeah.
probably it was just something like a cold or something like that. Once he went to the hospital, they would say, here's the medication, go home, rest. Type
After he went to the hospital, and nobody never said,
So they never said, oh, when he went to the emergency room, they never said, okay, we're going to admit you because of this. They just admitted him and said, we need to run tests.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So once he got admitted to the hospital, is that where you reached out to Grace and said, he's in the hospital?
Yeah, I called her and I said he talked to her too.
Oh, okay.
And then he might have talked to her before he went to the hospital.
So his sister, Mabel, came over with some weed that he asked for, most likely.
He called her.
He called her, okay.
He didn't come,
and he spoke. So it could have been the weed, even though he had a problem, it could have been the weed that pushed him over the edge.
Yeah, because he wasn't
Supposed to be smoking. Yeah, because it's really funny, not funny, haha, but that once he smoked that weed, he ended up having a heart attack. So that could have been too much for his heart with that smoking, and that's why the doctor told him not to smoke, but he didn't want to listen because he was too stressed out and his nerves were bad. So he thought those nerves was going to get cured by smoking that weed. So did y'all fight after that, or once you said I smoked it, my nerves are bad and this and that, I'm worried.
I got mad with him because you wasn't supposed to smoke. So why would you smoke weed? Because you got to inhale that smoke.
Okay. So previous to Daddy's death and that date, I'm pretty sure he smoked it. So did he smoke in the house? Like when did you find out he was a weed smoker? And was it a bad habit, or was it something he did occasionally that you know of?
Yeah, he did occasionally that I know of.
That you know of. So did he smoke in the house around us?
Yeah, most of the time, your brother said.
As people say, you was inhaling it?
Yeah, but most of the time, he was in the front room. But I guess you could say, but I would go in the room and close the door.
So he said, okay, Chloe, I'm about to smoke the weed. Take the little ones in the room.
I went in the room.
Oh, so he never say separate. So he never say separate the kids from me right now because I'm about to smoke weed. So it was like I'm gonna sit down and smoke my weed, and you just made the decision to put us in the room.
Yeah, because I didn't want to smell like stuff.
Yeah.
Like I said, and y'all, I guess he didn't say anything because y'all was small. Little, y'all didn't know what he was doing. You might think that he's smoking a cigarette because we did smoke cigarettes.
Okay, so you and him both smoke cigarettes. Mm-hmm. Okay. And what type of cigarettes did he smoke? Was it the same? Did you used to smoke Salem's?
I smoked the Salem's before I quit, but I used to smoke Pall Mall.
Oh, Pall Mall. And do you remember which ones he smoked?
I don't know. He smoked, I think he had a filter tip. I don't remember. I don't think he was smoking Pall Malls like me.
Like you. Do you remember the date and what you would? Well, of course you remember the date you gave birth, but the day that you gave birth to each of your kids, do you remember what you were doing before you got into labor? I know you remember pumpkin because you said you had it on the bed, right? Mm-hmm. So with the rest of us, do you remember what you was doing before you went into labor?
Well, I said with Big Boy, Christmas morning, I got up and I was in pain. Okay. And your father took me to my mother's house and left me off.
Oh God! Oh God! So you saying you was in labor pains, and your husband did not keep you home and sit home with you, but he decided to take you to your mother's house.
Yeah, he told me I go over here to my mother's house because I was hurting, and he said he was going to his mother's house, and he left. And I was sitting there, and my mother said, "What's the matter with you?" I said, "Oh, I was in pain all night." She said, "When you come over here?"
She's like, "What the heck you come over here for?"
He went to his mother's house and come back, and I went back home, and I didn't have frequency blood that morning.
So it was a situation where Daddy must have said, I'm just assuming that, my wife is in labor. I'm not dealing with this right now. I'm dropping her off at mother's house. If she dropped the load, then her mother could help her. So were you not angry that he did that, or?
I didn't want to go, and I was hurting anyway. He wanted to,
So he wanted to go hang out down at his mother's house.
Yeah,
So
we used to go down there. But he took Pumpkin.
oh, okay. Yeah.
He had to go down there and take Pumpkin in case something do happen.
So he took Pumpkin down there. Oh, so it wasn't so much a situation to where he said, I'm going to get rid of my wife. I don't want to be bothered type of, I'm leaving on my mother-in-law. It was just that he was preparing to leave Pumpkin with the family. Yeah. So if you go into labor and have the baby, y'all wouldn't have to worry about Pumpkin. Yeah. Oh, okay. And then that's just a different story. I thought my daddy was like a fool, okay? I'm about to write him a death letter. But I still don't know why you dragged up food 7 flights of stairs. I would like to ask my father what was his thinking in letting his pregnant wife go up 7 flights of stairs with
That was my job.
Ma, that was not your job. You were. Oh God, Ma.
It wasn't his fault. He didn't know the elevator wasn't working.
So, did you not feel like once you found out the elevator was working, that you couldn't wait till he get home? Did he not know the elevator wasn't working? Was it just like a one-time incident?
Oh, yeah. I didn't carry it up all the time.
Oh, so it was just like a one-time thing?
Like the elevator wasn't broke.
So, was it a one-time thing, or was it like a more than one-time thing?
I don't remember. I remember one time.
Just one time. Oh, okay. Well, he get a slide on that one, okay? Because I'm trying to figure out why would you let your pregnant wife go up and down the stairs with her? Okay. We can take a break. We'll take a 5-minute break.
We ain't taking no break.
I got a few more questions. Go ahead and do your thing. Okay, Mother. I know you're tired, and I appreciate you taking this opportunity to do this video for me, so I can have a little, I guess, more knowledge about my mother's childhood, teenage age, and married life. Speaking of married life, before going to the married life part, I have a few more questions on that. And I know you're tired. We're going to finish this up in 10 more minutes. Give me 10 more minutes, okay? And then I'll be done, okay? Because you look at the cameras like you're going to sleep there. Do you remember when you went into labor with me? You don't remember when you went into labor?
I went into labor with you all the time. And I don't know why, but I don't. Maybe it wasn't as bad as Pumpkin and Big Boy.
The pain?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That must have been it, because I can remember Pumpkin because
Yeah,
I had
on the bed,
I can remember Big Boy because I heard it all day that day. But I think with Tyra and you, it wasn't at all.
Do you remember Carmen's birth? No, you don't remember hers either. So it was basically probably because you had Pumpkin in the bed, and Big Boy was that pregnancy was a little harder for you, or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I remember Shane because his was harder.
Because he was a hard pregnancy for you too.
Because I was, what, am I
34, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you was 34. And that was a surprise, right?
Yeah. That was a hard one because I think when I went in labor with Shane, I remember being on that table. And that lady,
is that the labor room table?
Yeah. And the lady said I had the pain and Shane was coming out and they gave me something to put me to sleep. I don't even know when Shane came out. When I woke up, I was laying on the table, butt naked and cold.
So did you not see a doctor? Like, were you just laying there butt naked and cold and there was no doctor, nurse in the room? Or?
No,
Oh, so they just left you there?
Yeah.
And somebody finally came back and showed you the baby?
No, they came back and put my gown on, and then I see the baby later. I didn't see Shane when he come out.
Oh, that's because you was knocked out. They gave you something.
Yeah, because I got in pain, and I guess when she figured it was coming out,
and
it was so hard for me, she just
to push.
She just put me to sleep, and when I woke up, I was
So did they say it was a